so since we can't really agree on much on this show, can we at least figure out what was the best superhero movie of the early 2000s?
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. Yeah, that's fair.
I think X-Men 2. I also enjoyed that. I haven't seen the X-Men movies in a very long time, so
I don't think they hold up as well.
May just be the rose-tinted glasses.
I don't remember them being good. I like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
but I don't like him.
I like Hugh Jackman a lot too. I wish that they would have went a different direction. Like, it's funny that who they cast as Sabretooth, what I think would have made a better Wolverine, just based off a comic accurate.
But then we got Logan, which was excellent.
Logan's great. I just don't think that Hugh Jackman. I grew up on the 90s cartoon, had a couple comics. And so when I think about Wolverine, he's always a lot more stocky, like a linebacker, shorter, a bit more rugged. He's not a very handsome fellow. And then you have Hugh Jackman, who's very svelte, tall, very pretty to look at.
Yeah, he's a beautiful man.
I just feel it's a weird, and he did a great job. Like he acted the part very well. I think he brought a lot of life to that character. I agree. Logan, arguably one of the better superhero movies out there. But it was interesting.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh boy, I watched that. I actually, so remember that leaked, right? And they had
that's the only version I saw was the leaked.
The one that had like all the green screens and shit in it.
Yeah, like it was missing a lot of the VFX.
Yep. That's the one I watched.
And had like a lot of boom mics coming into the shot, and I watched that, not knowing that it was like the pre-leaked version.
Yeah.
And thought, wow, this is the shoddiest movie I've ever seen. And then somebody's like, no, that's they cleaned it up.
Dude,
and I was like, well, then I actually don't care. Like, this was way better than anything I could have seen as the final product.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, final product, not much of an improvement over what you got.
Yeah. I imagine it just loses the novelty factor, and there's just nothing there.
You know how like we started off strong with the Raimi era Spider-Man, and then like it quickly
I thought you meant the casual hour started off strong, and I was gonna say no, I don't think that's true.
It's just gotten worse. But it did, like it came up, and those movies quickly went down, and I do feel we've kind of gotten to that point now with where things are at. Specifically, I mean, DC's had a hard time going.
I mean, you can only like it's like seasons of a TV show. You know, there are only so many years that you can like tell new engaging stories with the same.
There's a reason why there's been like fringe characters, right, on a lot of these stories. I think it's hard to make people as excited about an Ant-Man as they are of an Iron Man. It's hard. It's hard to do.
I mean, also they've just been beating that horse for so many years. Yeah. That horse is so dead. Please.
It's not even a horse. It's just a pile of goo.
Whatever's left of it. There's a few more years at least.
It's a fine powder.
You've got 2 more Avengers movies they're cooking up. Not even to mention all the X-Men stuff. Anyway.
Okay, we got to talk about video.
We got a lot to talk about. We are the Casual Hour, an exhausting podcast that's casually dipping its toe into video games, mostly lately MCU stuff. But no, we are ostensibly about video games, mostly about the MCU tonight. I'm Bobby. Chase, say hello.
Hello.
Johnny, say hello.
Hello.
This is a very special What You've Been Playing, because we were given by the video game gods this week not 1 but 2 direct style presentations from Nintendo and Sony. So we're going to get through the What You've Been Playing. We're going to talk to you about some game.
One of them was even pretty good.
They each had their moments. We'll say that.
That's true.
Peaks and valleys.
Farmlands. Depending. So many farmlands. I mean, Square Enix and fucking John Deere have stock in Nintendo, it seems.
I just wish any of the farming games looked like fun.
Dude,
I don't
I wish
mind
that...
that there are farming games. I just wish they looked fun.
They all look like phone games.
Well, you know why.
Harvestella. Well, we'll talk about it later.
So we're going to talk a little bit about... We probably got an update on Temtem. We're going to talk about Splatoon 3 tonight. We're going to talk about Moonbreaker. We're going to talk about the artist formerly known...
Don Pappas. We're
as
going to talk
Clap
about
Hands.
Don Pappas. That's what we're going to talk about.
So we got a lot to get into. We'll talk over some trailers in the back half of the episode. So get cozy, hang out. If you're listening to this, go back and watch the video on demand if you want to see any of the highlights from those presentations. With that being said, Chase, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a couple things. I've been playing Railbound, which did you talk about Railbound on the podcast before?
I did.
Okay, I know we did a quick look on it. That's the new game from the Golf Peaks developer.
Yep.
And it's good. It's good. I don't like it quite as much as I like Golf Peaks. I think it's a little... like fiddly's the wrong word. There's just... it's much more complex in a way that I don't think makes it more fun. It's still a good game, and there's some really good strategy in there, some tough puzzles, but there's something about the presentation of Golf Peaks that I still prefer. But Railbound is solid. It's really solid. It's a nice little puzzle game to play, especially like on an iPad. I think it just works great there, and that's where I've been playing it mostly.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome on iOS.
Yeah. The only real problem I've run into is one of my own doing, and that is when you play levels, they're separated into worlds, and when you play these levels, they will unlock not only the next level, but then a bonus level.
Mm-hmm.
But it will just take you to the next regular level. And then once you're done with that, it will move you to the next world. So it'll just kind of keep those bonus levels and not have you do them, even though you've unlocked them. And my problem is that whenever I finish out a world, before I move on to the next one, I go back and go, oh, well, I should do all the bonus levels. I want to complete this whole world and just be done with it so I can move on to the next one. You probably shouldn't do that. You should just play the game as they give it to you, because those bonus levels are way harder. In a way that is like an extreme spike of difficulty compared to what you were playing in the regular levels.
Like undoable hard, or
not undoable. I mean, there's still puzzles with solutions. It's just taking it to a complexity and
it's much harder.
It's much harder. There's not necessarily more mechanics, but it's taking you. It's really pushing your understanding of those mechanics in a way that I think you'd probably be better off just going through the game as they give you the normal levels, and then going back and doing all the bonus levels in order afterward.
I've got the first two worlds and all the bonuses completed. I'm working through the third right now.
I'm working on the bonus levels of the second one. There is one that I was staring at for like 15 minutes today.
Yeah,
of just trying different combinations and going, I don't know how to get these things in the right order. God damn it!
Yep.
But it was enjoyable. I mean, I was still enjoying my time playing it, but definitely some frustration in there. And once I get the answer to that, I'm gonna feel really smart. But until then, God damn it!
It's a really cool game. It's one of my favorite mobile games in some time. I think they've done a great job with it, and art style's great. Music's really good. It's got a lot of little subtle details in it.
Sound effects are really great. Like
Yep.
when you get all the train cars to get in there, the train gives a little choo choo sound.
It's really good.
It's just everything's very solid. So yeah,
Nice.
Railbound is good. I like it. I'm gonna keep on playing it. We can. I know you guys have also been playing Temtem, so I'll kind of save that for a bigger discussion with all of us. But there was a game that came out yesterday. It showed up on the Nintendo Switch, but it was not part of the Direct, which was kind of weird because they showed off a different Apple Arcade game that was coming to Switch that I would say is much worse. than this game. So I don't know why you didn't show this one instead. But as Bobby kind of referenced earlier in the show, Clap Hands Golf is a game that we enjoyed on Apple Arcade.
Oh yeah,
featuring best new character of 2020, 2020, 2021.
2021.
Last year.
Yeah. Don Pappas.
The year of
Everybody
Pappas.
loves the Pappas. The year of Pappas. So that was Clap Hands Golf, and now it has shown up to. Is it just the Switch, or has it come to other consoles as well?
so.
Do we know?
It's just the Switch right now.
Okay.
My guess would be maybe PlayStation next, based off of what they've done.
Yeah. But now it has been rebranded as Easy Come Easy Golf, which I don't think is a better name.
No, but it's also,
fine,
I think,
it's whatever.
Clap Hands being the name of the studio, just saying Clap Hands Golf, like that made sense. It was a dumb name. It made sense. But this one, I don't know if this has anything to do. We've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but all of these contracts are expiring for Apple Arcade. And I just wonder if this is like a way of getting around some of that, or confuse. I don't know what that. I have no idea.
I'm not sure either. And to make matters even more complicated, this developer has had to change their name a lot or change the names of their games a lot. Like this is coming out of the DNA of Hot Shots Golf, which over here was Hot Shots Golf. In Japan, it was Everybody's Golf. And then they made another one just called Everybody's Golf everywhere. And then they went on to make Clap Hands Golf. And it's all sharing the same DNA. It's the same type of characters. I don't think it has the same characters across all these different games, but at least the same character styles, the same style of golf. They're not changing up mechanics too much. I mean, on Apple Arcade, they were touch controls for this game. But Easy Come Easy Golf on the Switch. I decided to pick it up. It's $20, which it was a little bit like, ooh, that's a little pricey. But at the same time, I was really interested to see what this game would be like on the Switch, and I'm glad I did. It does have the touch controls, so if you reach over here, so if you just have your Nintendo Switch out, you can use touch controls to play golf. Nintendo Switch touchscreen not as good as the as the iOS as the phone screen, or the Apple as the iPad screen. So I would suggest probably not playing it that way. What you can do though, it also has two other modes of controls. One of them is like an EA hit stick style of using the right thumbstick to hit your shots. And then the other one is the very traditional triple tap style of golfing. To which I was like, "Holy shit! They put triple tap controls in here. That's how I like playing my golf games." And it's great. So I've been playing with the triple tap stuff, and it feels really solid. There are a lot of mechanics that I'm still trying to figure out how to do. I know there's tutorial stuff in the game. It kind of goes by relatively quickly, and I miss some things. But I'm trying to figure out how to put spin on the ball exactly.
If you're using a controller, it's much easier than if you're using touch.
Is it?
Yep. You just pull down on your thumbstick on the left, or push up while you're backswinging, and hold it there, and then connect, and that's how you add that control.
Okay.
At least that's how it was when you use a controller with either a Mac or an iPad or a phone.
Okay, maybe that is in here then. But it does have like the controls where you use the right thumbstick to say where you want to hit the ball. So if you want to loft it a little higher, you can hit it on the bottom, or top it into the wind or something like that. So it does have that kind of style. I do need to try those other controls to make sure that stuff works too. But so far it works just fine. It's got some longer load times than I remember on the iPad or phone, and that's kind of a bummer. Like there's like a good 2 to 3 seconds of load between each hole, and for a game that feels like it is all about a quick rhythm, those couple of seconds can feel like it's
Do
taking
you
you out a
think
little
that's the
bit.
Switch?
It's tough to tell. I mean, I can't. The game doesn't seem intensive in any way, shape, or form, and I
No.
know
Yeah,
the Switch
since it's a port
isn't.
of a mobile game, like
Yeah, I mean the Switch isn't like super powered, and I'm sure phones can run stronger stuff than Switch can at this point, but it doesn't. I don't know. This doesn't necessarily feel like a Switch problem to me. Maybe it is, but
It's just
there is
cool
just
that
a
it
little bit of
happened
load.
because I think that's one of like my favorite golf games I've ever played.
Mhm.
Like I love
And
my time with that game.
and I think it just works a lot better with controls with controller controls rather than the touch stuff. The touch stuff works,
Yeah.
but I was getting a lot of just misses. Like I just like it would lose my tracking even on an iPad, and when I'm playing it with a controller, you just don't get any of that. You're hitting like you hit it, and it's working great. So that's been fun. It does have a couple of different features to it though. Um, they're kind of small and are relatively insignificant, but they are there. One of them is so if you haven't played Clap Hands Golf or this new one yet, or this port yet, the basic idea is that you have a team of golfers now, and all of these characters can only play a single hole. So when you play a 9-hole battle, like you're in like a 9-hole tournament, each one of your characters only can play one hole, and those characters have different strengths and weaknesses. Hey, this guy can hit longer, so you probably want him on your par fives. This one is really good with a sand wedge, so you might want to use that one when there are a lot of sand traps on the course. Um, so you can pick each person for each individual hole, but you can only have them play that one hole. In this game, I think in the iOS version they started you out with shorter tournaments. So I think they gave you 4 characters to start with, so they would only give you tournaments where you could play 4 holes for a while, or 3 holes, or something like that, until you got more characters, and then would open up bigger tournaments for you where you could use those other characters. In this one, they let you go right away into 9-hole tournaments, but you still only start with 4 characters. So to fill out those other spots, they've added what they call mini golfers, which
Hmm.
are just like little children who all look the same. They look like little dolls, and they don't gain experience. They don't have any special talents like the regular characters do that you unlock over the course of playing the game. But they just kind of fill in those spots until you get better golfers. Um, it's kind of weird. They still play fine. They just don't have any of the inherent strengths that the other golfers do. One of the other things that they've added inexplicably is the ability to change the height of your characters in just the character select mode. So they still have the same kind of costumes and color variations that they did in the iOS games. But now there's just a slider where you can just make people taller or shorter, and then there's a different slider where you can change their head size, where you can make them have big heads, you can make them have more proportional heads, you can make them have tiny little voodoo looking heads. It's very weird, and I cannot wait to unlock Don Pappas so I can make all sorts of monstrosities with him.
He's too pure
It's
for this world.
it's I don't understand why they did this, but I love it. And otherwise, it's just a solid golf game.
That's wild,
It's
dude.
I think the golf mechanics are still better in Mario Golf Super Rush, but the courses are just too silly in that game. And so there's definitely a place for this on the Switch, and for me specifically, that I'm going to play a lot of this instead of just going back to Mario Golf Super Rush again, because
Nice.
I just like the course design. I like that it feels more like regular golf, but also still has that kind of arcadey feel to it. It's just really solid. I think I like this version even more than the iOS version, despite the loading. So
Okay.
I'm going to keep playing Easy
Nice.
Come, Easy Golf, even though I really don't like that name, and we'll probably just keep referring to it as Clap Hands Golf going forward.
On Papa's World Tour.
That's true. I cannot wait to get Don Pappas back.
We covered Railbound and we covered Easy Come, Easy Golf. We're all going to talk about Tim when we transition over to Johnny. So, anything else from you before we move on?
Nah, that's about it. The normal stuff, Destiny and Fire Emblem Heroes and things like that I just don't need to talk about.
Case, congratulations on unlocking all achievements in Fire Emblem Heroes.
That's not even remotely true.
According to Game Center, it is.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe whatever achievement stuff they had in there, but
I happened to check it for something else, and it was like Chase Kinnicky unlocked all achievements for Fire Emblem Heroes.
That is
holy shit.
A horny boy right there.
I bet that was like a year one achievement stuff, and
it was like through chapter 16.
Yeah, I don't know. I still play all the story stuff on that when it comes up, and I'm just not putting any money into it. It's much healthier now.
There you go.
I'm much healthier. The game continues not to be healthy, but I'm much healthier.
Got your 2-year chip.
All right.
There is a really good banner going on right now. Like it's like a Flame Tribe thing. Did you? Nobody here played Fire Emblem Fates, right?
No.
The 3DS ones that came after Awakening. There's a character who's from the Flame Tribe, and they have a banner where they've made Flame Tribe versions of a lot of characters that weren't in Fates. And I just like the Flame Tribe stuff. They got cool masks. They got sweet headdresses. They just look really good. I'd like to have them all.
Don't do it.
I did get one of the best ones from that banner, so I felt pretty good about that without paying.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that you can lose yourself to, I have
the music. The moment you're gonna never let it go.
Okay.
Mom's spaghetti.
We good? We done? We got that out of our system? Ready to move on?
Not, but
okay.
Continue on.
I got into the play test for Moonbreaker, which isn't a huge achievement. You can request access on the Steam page to do so. This game is going to hit early access on September 29th. This is from Unknown Worlds. They're the ones who made Subnautica. This is their new tabletop game. And it's really two experiences in one, in my opinion. You've got a very solid, really thoughtful turn-based strategy game that you can play with these really elaborate pieces. And it's got some of the mechanics you would want from it, from comboing, proximity. It's got ranged abilities. They've got the user you can basically you have there's 3 groups of 2 of these abilities that you as the player get to choose from that are randomly generated at the start of each match. That could be a healing thing. It can be more of an AoE attack. But there's different factions within this that you can choose from, and that will team up with other pieces. And some of these are going to be fodder that just get thrown down. They can do some melee attacks, take hits. Others are going to be a bit more elaborate. The whole concept is that each team has a captain. Once the captain falls, the match is over. You can't call in reinforcements while you're playing it. It's just really well done. They've got some great perspectives on it. It's very much like a tactile feeling game. Like you feel like you've put this on your table and you can zoom in on the pieces and see it. But on the other side of this, and I've never been a Warhammer, like an actual Warhammer fan. I've played a little bit of Vermintide. I was playing Chaos, Demon Gate Chaos, whatever it was this year, the turn-based kind of XCOM one. And I am looking forward to...
You've never painted a minifigure, though.
I've never painted a minifigure before. And that's a huge part of this game. Like, there is a whole... it's insane what they've built from a customization standpoint. It feels...
Yeah, it's like...
Dude.
Insanely fleshed out, isn't it? In terms of, like, the airbrushing and stuff.
Yeah, I would say, like, it hinges kind of on like an Adobe level experience. If you've used any of the Adobe Creative Suite, it can be very overwhelming, but I've got a long history of design work. That's what I went to school for. I felt right at home, and I fucking lost myself in painting. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in and like mess with the tools. And there's a character that's really cool. I can't remember her name right now, but she kind of has like that Junkrat feel from Overwatch. She's got one robotic leg, one robotic arm. She has this huge fucking grappling hand, and her moveset on the board is awesome because she can pull enemies and allies into the battle and do shit with that, which is really fun to play with. But I thought she would be a fun piece to paint, and of course I went for like a very big piece for this game. Like, it's massive. She's got this whole fucking like it's not quite what Rey has from The Force Awakens, but it looks very similar. It's like a steam engine where it's got these two big like blooms of smoke coming out from it, and she's got the arm up. It's really fucking cool, kind of steampunk-esque. But I was like learning about, okay, you need to put a base coat down, and you're going to start to use an airbrush. You're going to use a dry brush. You're going to use you're going to use a wash. So like I would be able to get into the cracks of this character and add some depth and shadow. And I was taking my time with it. I've got like her face done, and I got a good base coat on her vehicle. I can tell you right now that when this game hits early access, I could see myself spending hours just painting these pieces and like having a blast with it, putting a podcast on, listening to music, having a drink, doing that. It's really, it's a really cool game. I did one PvP match. You can play that. So it is designed to be played against other people, but there is an entire campaign you can run through the like AI portion of it. The one thing I will call out, when you first load it up on the menu in the upper right hand corner, there's 3 icons. One of those is incredibly important. If you click on it, there's like multiple video tutorials that then open up into a match that you're getting like a tutorial experience with. They don't really make you go through that when you open up the play test. And so like I just hopped right into a match. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they haven't even taught me how to play this game or the rules for it.
I went back out, handed to me in the one round that I played.
So I went back through it, learned about the game, and was holding my own pretty well in it. It's really cool. It's got big casual Monday energy, so much so that as Chase and I are playing through Tim, I might sprinkle this in 1 or 2 times a month to break that up and show it to Chase, because I think he would dig it for sure. PC only right now.
So you don't have to do any of the painting, right? Like they've got default skins or paints for everybody. Okay.
Yep. So when you go into that, they basically say like, here's the character that you have, and you just hit create new, and it brings over a primed version of that. And so you can like bounce back, or you could bring it over already painted. It's like, you know what, I like most of this, but I want it to be a green jacket, you know. So you can go in and paint. You don't have to go from scratch either.
Well, that's good to hear, because when I saw that game first and saw the trailer stuff, I was for some reason I was getting Spore vibes out of it. When you played Spore, you first like build your character, and like, oh, it's so cool to go in here and get to, you know, try all the sliders and things and add all the stuff, and then you make a character, and it felt great. And then over the course of the game, there'd be a couple other different places where they'd go, okay, hey, you made it to this part, you need to make this thing now. You can make this, you know, make this tribal banner. So now you make your banner. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. I'm going to do that. And then at one point in the game, they say, well, now it's going to turn a little bit more into like an RTS, where you can build all these different kinds of houses and buildings, and we want you to design all of them right now. And it took the pacing right out of it, of going like, okay, well, what's the city hall look like? What's a regular house look like? What's the barracks look like? What do all these things look like? And by the end of that thing, I was just going, I don't know, put some spheres and boxes on it and just call it a day.
I don't think it's anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, hearing that like the painting is, 1, totally optional, and 2, like a separate thing that you say, okay, I want to paint this thing now. Like, you're choosing to do that. It's not like the game goes, hey, you just got this piece, now you have to paint it before you can use it.
No, it's all about like,
that does kind of assuage like the big fear I had when I first saw this game.
For sure. And I think it's more about like maybe you find a couple pieces or a crew that you're pretty connected to. I think there's something really endearing about like making it your set. And there's a strong possibility that, like, especially on a PvP scene, like you could be building shit out or like painting things in a way that like nobody else has. And you're playing with pieces. And like there's something cool about that to me. And it's this whole thing that's just, it's really cool that they did it. At times it's like it seems unnecessary because they've got a really robust turn-based game here as well. But to know that they've given you this sandbox to like, hey, it also comes into the game in a cool way versus they could have easily been, and maybe they'll end up doing something like this, but hey, this is a new season. You can get a battle pass. You can pay for all these things and get new pieces.
Oh yeah, they could Dota it up
right
immediately and just say, oh hey, just here's a legendary jacket you can put on this piece.
Totally.
And like you said, maybe they'll still do that, and now you can just paint the really cool new jacket on that.
Right.
But the idea that, hey, at least initially, it's all about your creativity and less about you handing us more money for stuff. That seems really cool. Like the idea, you kind of brought it up there, is like if this did get competitive in like an esports way, I think like you have like a built-in segment for those kinds of journalists who go in and go, tell me about how you painted this character and like what your inspirations were.
In colors.
Totally, yeah.
Also,
what colors did you pick? Why did you pick it from? Like, hey, this guy's like modeled after Spider-Man.
Sorry to disrupt you guys, but the stream is there's no sound.
What? There was sound for Bobby when I started. I'm hearing my sound.
Yeah, I mean,
talk again, Johnny.
Hello. Are we coming through?
Yeah, it's coming through. Shut up,
okay.
Johnny.
Well, it's not playing on my page for some reason.
Your page sucks.
The one thing I will also, what was I going to say about this? God damn it, Johnny! I had a good point I was going to bring up.
The tab's not muted or anything. I don't know why it's not playing the sound.
God damn it! What was I going to say?
We could probably just skip it. Probably wasn't important.
It was a good point. It was something.
How
anyway,
is the strategy though, Bobby?
It's cool. It's really cool.
The painting stuff sounds good, but
I was going to say thank you, Chase. I could see on a night where I would not have one of you two for a stream. Like I think I might just like fire up a stream of me painting some of these things, like hanging out, going through that process of me painting and doing that on stream and hanging out with people. Anyway.
Okay, how about this? How about this? We do a casual Monday. You paint your little miniatures, and I'll build a gunpla, and
there we go.
Then we'll have people.
That's entertainment.
Sounds good. The strategy is good. So there's some really neat abilities. The way it plays out, you've got this. I don't remember what they call it. It's an energy source, right? And you get, let's say, 1 dot of energy for your first turn. Your second turn, you get 2. Your third turn, you get 3, and it just builds up. That's used for 2 things. One, it's used to do special moves on each character because each character has a unique move set. Or it's used to bring in other pieces that you would have like on your ship, which is just on you. And it's really neat how they do this. So when you start to bring other pieces onto the board, it gives you this trajectory that they're going to come in at, and you can pin people into spots. So I could bring somebody in, and I might, because when you land them on the map, the first introduction, they don't have a turn, they're just placed. So if I knew that somebody was going to make a move that's more of a melee character and they were up against the spot, I could just deploy somebody next to them, pin them in, and move around it. There's some really cool strategies in the tutorial for it. I can't remember the exact term that they used, but it is a game that they said that we are designing this to break the rules of the game through things we add into it, because they're going to keep adding pieces into the game from like DLC and build out more characters that will have new abilities that will make you change your strategies up and how you play it, because they want to keep things fresh and competitive. So I have a lot of faith in this studio. They've made 2 of what I consider to be some of the best in class games when it comes to survival craft games. This is very different than that, but there's an attention to detail and a care and a world build that they've done here that is just fucking fascinating. And I cannot wait to dive into this game further. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun to play.
Nice.
So that's Moonbreaker. The next two games, I'm going to talk about Tim and Splatoon 3. This is where Johnny would come in. I'm going to let him take the reins on Splatoon. I've talked a lot about Tim. I'll just give my update and then let you all talk. I have all the islands unlocked. I am nearing, I believe, the end of the main story, which now I can start playing Tim, right? Is that how that works? So you get through, then you can start playing the real game.
Now the real Timming begins.
Now the real Timming begins. So I've gotten some really cool Tims. I've been evolving. I'm getting some good strategies there. I really like this game. I've said that enough. I find it to be exactly what I want from one of these monster catching games. And I don't think I speak for everybody here. I know I don't speak for everybody here, but I have kind of eclipsed that point where I was thinking about Pokemon a whole lot when I first played it, and now I'm just really enjoying being in this world. The art, the animation, just the polish that this has, it feels really good to me.
Yeah, I know I've talked about it a little bit before in the past when I played it. I'm more interested to hear Chase's thoughts. So Chase, what are your first impressions of Tim now that you're finally able to play it? Because I know when it first came in early access, you really wanted the opportunity to play it, and now the time has come. So what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I think it does make a really good first impression. It's a nice looking game. I think the initial mechanics feel really solid. The choice of Thames at the beginning is nice. Like I just like the art style of the Thames for the most part. So I think it comes out swinging and feels pretty good.
Who'd you pick?
And then I went with the mental one, Hochin, something like that. Hochik. And as I've been going on, there's some stuff that started to annoy me a little bit more. I really don't like the way that the evolution system works in the game. One, it feels like evolutions are really rare to begin with. There's a lot of Thames that just don't evolve, or maybe only evolve once, that feel like they should have a third evolution somewhere in there. And the way the system works is it's not that they evolve at a specific level. It's that they evolve after you level them up enough times. And those sound like similar things, but they're not. So if you hatched a Temtem at like level 1 and you needed 27 levels before this thing evolves, that means at level 28 that a thing will evolve. But if you caught a wild Tem and it was like at level 8 or whatever, you need to do 27 levels from level 8. So then that would mean you wouldn't get it until like level 35. And that can make a big difference when you have, let's say, a friend who would send you a high level but unevolved Tem, and you go, okay, well, this is cool. This thing is really neat, but also I know this thing is never going to evolve because it's such a high level already that it's going to take forever to gain levels, and it needs levels, I think, on the main trainer, which means I'm just going to need to grind it out to finally get this thing to evolve.
Last night, I realized I goofed with this.
Oh.
So what I will probably do is have you give me back the Tims that you want temporarily, because I've got
nice temporary. I got you.
Yep. There is a Ditto equivalent in the game. I have it now, and I can take that to breed and get you level 1s of any of these. So then you have them, throw them in your party, put the Coward's Cloak on it, and they'll just level up, and you'll have them that way. So if there are those ones that I gave you, I just gave them to you like as I found them, but now I can go back because you're at the point now where the breeding center's there, and I can just give you level 1s of those, and you'll be good to go.
Sure. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that alleviates it in this specific case, but I think there is still that it's not a huge issue. It's just it feels weird, and it feels frustrating in like they're trying to fix something that wasn't broken.
I think I
One
know
of
where
the
they do it
things,
though. I've thought about that. The only
yeah.
only thing I
What,
can
what do you
come,
think?
I think just given the nature that this is an MMO at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and from an in-game perspective, I don't really know what the end game of this looks like besides like competitive. I have to think that it's designed to where they want you kind of on that treadmill, good, bad, or indifferent. That's like one of the only reasons I can really like justify, hey, this might keep people playing or going back and doing things longer to get that leveling up on those Tims. I might be high off my ass on that and wrong, but that's just something I thought.
Maybe, or maybe it's also like, hey, we want you to feel the grind at the beginning of the game, but once you do have the ability to just breed whatever you want, we want to make it easier. So hey, they actually will evolve at lower levels if you're breeding them. So maybe
Right.
that cuts out some of the grinding time late game. But for now, it feels kind of like a slog, and that also gets compounded when the I think the main appeal of the game is the double battles. Is that everywhere possible they're going to throw double battles at you, or at the very least you will always throw out two Tems against maybe one monster, but most of the time it's 2-on-2, and that's great in terms of finding a more strategic balance with the battles, especially when you get into like the gym leader fights or the dojo master fights. Those feel much richer than you get in a traditional Pokemon game where, hey, I know this guy's rock, I'm going to bring all the water Pokemon and just steamroll this guy. It's a little different when they've got a team that is somewhat balanced, at least, that can deal with some of your counters. And that stuff is really cool. The problem is that it's those kind of nail biting battles all the time, everywhere. It's not just in the dojos. It is when you're fighting regular trainers. It's when you're fighting wild Temtem. It's you're gonna face a lot of double battles that just everything everything seems to take away a third to a half of your health, and you also do a third or a half of their health, and it just makes the grind really slow because you feel like you are just constantly having to heal back up after every battle. The battles last a lot longer, and you're constantly going back to their version of the Pokemon Center called the Temporium, and it just it. Bobby said that there becomes a tipping point somewhere in the game where you start to get more powerful, and you do start to get those one hit KOs that make battles go a lot faster. And I can't wait for that time to get here, but it's not here yet, and I'm already, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours into the game at this point, and I just feel like, man, I wish it wasn't such a slog to play this game because I really like a lot of what it's doing. I just wish it was a little snappier in the way it plays.
I think that's also. I mean, we've heard it loud and clear for several years. Pokemon's too easy. Like we've heard that for some time,
Sure, absolutely.
and I think that this was when I first played the game, and when I stopped playing on that first outing for early access, I had like 45 hours into the game, and
Yep.
I was only on like those first two islands, and so I was just playing the game to be playing the game. And at that point, what was really fucked is that they didn't have evolutions. They only had, I think, for the first three, they only had the first two start. Like the character that you picked just got their third evolution pretty recently. And I gave you a Tim earlier. I'm like, hey, this doesn't have an evolution. I found out later on, oh, it does now. So all that to be said, I was like grinding things as I didn't know. It wasn't like Pokemon where I could go read a guide and be like, oh yeah, that's going to evolve at level 17, or if you give it the stone. But what happened was by the time I wrapped up that first experience, I was running through shit pretty effective. And now I was getting my ass handed to me. Like I was getting a little frustrated when I first picked it back up because I had more islands and I was not ready for that third island. Like I was probably about 10 levels below.
Okay.
And really just struggled through a lot of those fights. I got one or two And I was doing the dumb shit that I did in Pokemon where like I'd have a team of 6, but I really only like kept one out that could just one hit almost everything, like as I was pulling shit. And here you just can't really do that. Like because of the
You
nature
need
of
to
the
have your team
you
well
really do.
balanced. Yeah.
And you need to be able to like tank hits to bring shit out and move stuff around. Like you've got to really put some strategy into this. And there's a lot
I think
of
it also makes it hard to level up a new tem. It makes it difficult to switch your team members. Like not in battle, like that still works as normal. But the idea of, hey, I think I want to start. I just caught this tem. I would like to use this one because I think it might work better in battle for me. But it's just not high enough level right now. The grind to get those things up, at least until I'm sure I get that Coward's Cloak, which works as like an XP share, from what Bobby has told me. It just it continues to just add to the slowness that I feel like I'm getting through the game. And that stuff, the combat stuff being so slow, it's made me care about the story less and just button through dialogue because I'm trying to get through something in this game quickly. I mean, I know I'm saying a lot of negative things, but it's because I really do want to like this game, and I think it does have a lot of the stuff that I appreciate and care about. I'm just kind of struggling, at least in this section of the game, to get to the part that I hear is good and that I believe will be good. And I just wish I got that experience right now.
So with that in mind, I'll just share one little final thought to maybe give you a little light here. The Coward's Cloak, you're really close to picking that up. That's only for one Tim, which is a bummer. There is a Coward's Blanket that you can get near the end of the game. And what I don't have it yet. I'm really close to getting it. But what I did was your Tim that you started with, I had not really evolved that one. And I'm at a point where I'm fighting things that are anywhere from 70 to level 80 right now. Like that's just randomly occurring. That's what the dojos are. So I just threw that Tim into my party because I had enough to carry me through it with the other 5. Put the Coward's Cloak on it. It was level 15. By the time I got through the dojo, it's almost level 50. And it just goes so quick. And I'm getting all the evolutions there. So what I plan on doing is getting, and like if I go to an area where it's like, okay, this is going to be more grass type that are higher level, which I know where they're at now, and I get that Coward's Blanket, I'm going to find 5 that I just like dig, throw them in my party, and just go and start one hitting shit and just farming experience that way. It's just I've come to peace with it and like the nuances, and like I've gotten to a point where like I feel pretty effective with my team. I sent Johnny a picture of, I found my favorite one so far. Like he's just a big beefcake. He's so good. Anyway, I think what you're saying is valid, and I think especially you and I talked about this either on the quick look or on the stream. We all love Pokemon here. I think that it's kind of, you're like you play the weird Pokemons. You really dig Pokemon. Like you introduced me to a lot more to Pokemon. I knew with Koromon and with Temtem that there was going to be some bias. And there's going to be some. There's going to be some
I
muscle
still haven't
memory.
played Coromon. I own Coromon. I would like to play Coromon. I think Coromon is probably closer. Would you say that Coromon is a little closer to Pokemon than Temtem is?
I think I didn't. I knew that you would like Ublis after you first saw it. I think that you will like Temtem. I think you like Temtem. I think you will enjoy Temtem.
Yeah.
I think Koromon is your shit.
Okay. I mean, I agree that the Pokemon is too easy. Like we sailed through Sword and Shield. It's not a hard game. People. It feels like the first day those games are out, you already have YouTubers going like, "Can you just beat this game with the weakest Pokemon in the game?" And
the answer is invariably yes.
You kind of can.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not that difficult. But there are. I've talked about Pokemon ROM hacks before, but there are also Pokemon fan games where people are making like completely new executables, not just ROM hack things, but they're making full new games that use different tile sets that make them look like Pokemon. There's one that I really would like to play. I can't because I am it's still stuck on my Mac, but eventually when I get a PC, I'll be able to play. But there's one called Tower of Hats by a developer named L, who like the point of that game is that it's a lot of really difficult strategic battles, but to make it not easier, but to get you past the point where the way that Temtem says, like, oh, what if we just made every battle a double battle? This game goes, we want the strategy to be in the battles, but we want everything else to be streamlined. So they give you 6 Master Balls at the beginning of that game, and they say, these are the only Pokeballs you're ever going to get. So you can catch whatever you want, but you have to be sure that those are the Pokemon you want to use, because then you have to go in and face these strategic battles. And apparently there's also some opportunities for you to trade Pokemon with other people in there. Maybe like people that you beat, you can trade one out. That stuff is really fascinating to me as hey, all the bullshit stuff is streamlined and super fast. So when you focus on the battles, you know this is the meat of the game and this is what you're going into. And something like that feels like they found the right balance there, where Temtem, at least at the moment, feels like they've kind of gone a little too far in the other direction, to the point that like everything is just a fucking grind right now. So hearing you talk about it, Bobby, it sounds like it does kind of fix itself a little bit, or it rebalances itself eventually, and it starts to feel more like what I want it to. So I'm looking forward to that time.
I also have fast travel now, which has made a huge lift.
I'm sure that helps a lot. Yeah.
Like that's changed it up completely, and you don't get that until you get to the 4th island. Yeah. That now, third island.
They do give you those smoke bombs though. Like a smoke bomb is an item that you can a consumable item that you can get that kind of works like teleport does in the Pokemon games, where it'll just take you back to the last Pokemon Center you were at, or the last Temporium in this game that you were at.
Yep.
And that stuff is also really nice. Of hey, I'm going out, I'm grinding, and now I need to, like, all my guys are hurt. I need to go back to the Temporium. Instead of trying to hike back there, you just use that one item. It also has a very Dark Souls style Estus Flask mechanic called the Temessence File, and you can use that, once per. Do you get more charges of that as you play, or is it still just the one?
Not that I've seen. Okay. And the other thing I'll call out too, Chase, I have not encountered it yet. I was doing some research online. There's a couple of these. You can find items that are single use. I think there's only a handful of them, but they are an instant evolution.
Oh, okay.
So you can find some of those and give them to like those
for anything, or is it like okay?
Yeah. So there's a couple of those that you can find out where they're at and get them and like give that to a Tim and get an instant evolution on it.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, that's Temtem.
We're gonna keep playing it. We're playing it on Monday nights right now and having a good time. It is a really seamless and fun multiplayer. Like they've done a great job with that.
Yeah,
and
that stuff works really well.
Yeah, so Chase and I'll continue to play that on Mondays, and we'll get him some level 1s and let him get some fun stuff there. Johnny, any final thoughts on that? Or you want to move on to Splatoon?
No, I started over, and I think I'm past where I was before at this point.
Who'd you pick for your second start?
Crystal.
That's a good one. I like Crystal a whole lot.
I picked Crystal again because I liked him a lot. I wanted to see his evolution. And I haven't played as much of it as I would like. But I'm way into it. I'm invested.
It is
sure.
It is a bummer. There's a way to do it. It's not a great way, in my opinion, because of the epic. No, sorry. Never mind. I take that back. I'm thinking of Ooblets. Temtem, fantastic on the Steam Deck, by the way. Really enjoy playing it there.
It works pretty solidly.
It's worked there really well, and that's helped me play quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
Johnny, Splatoon 3.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
They made another Splatoon. And
they sure did.
I think it's really, really good. I played a lot of Splatoon 2 when it came out. I really loved the multiplayer mode.
Sure.
And the salmon, what's that?
I was going to ask which one, but you're just about to talk about Salmon Run. So go ahead.
And yeah, the Salmon Run was more of a special event that wasn't always available. But in this one, it is. You have to hit level 5 in the regular multiplayer before you unlock that part of the game because it is its own separate place that you go to. And it's been. When did Splatoon 2 come out? Was that 2017?
Was it
I
the first
think?
year of the Switch, or was it the second year?
I think it was
Might
the
have-
second.
might
It
have been
was. It
second
was.
year. I'll just look it up.
Okay.
It was 2017.
2017.
July
Okay.
2017. So it's been about 5 years since I played it. So there are some things that I may have just forgotten about how the multiplayer worked in that one, but it seems like they've taken the formula and just refined it even more. So if you were into Splatoon before, you're gonna be into Splatoon now, and if you played Splatoon 2, you actually get some golden tickets that you can use to unlock some items that would otherwise be unavailable to you until you leveled up a lot higher. So I used one of my 3 golden tickets to buy. It's like an ink minigun, basically, that charges up and then it fires for several seconds after it's charged up. And that
It's
was
pretty
one
good.
that you don't get until level 30. And they really seem to cater to like how you want to approach the turf war, because there are like it's just an insane variety of weapons. Like you've got your brushes, you've got your guns, and there's even like a sniper rifle equivalent. So if you want to hang back and focus more on eliminating other players, but also when you're charging it, it's shooting a big streak of ink across, so you're still inking the map up a little bit. And it's I don't know. Did you guys play either of the previous 2 games?
I played 2 and I enjoyed what I played with it. I think there was just like a lot of newness at the time for the Switch and like wanting to check out a bunch of stuff. I never played Splatoon 1, and I know that there was a few other things that came out not too far away from when this game launched. And I was not going to pick this one up, but we were talking about like content for Fridays, and I didn't dislike my time with 2. I had a really good time with parts of it for sure. And I saw a lot of praise for what this one was, picked it up. Everything that they've done from like just directing you around like the city seems a little bit more polished this time around. The campaign stuff especially is more than just we're going to tutorialize a campaign to teach you how to play the multiplayer. Like there's some really fun stuff to do in the campaign that makes sense, and like there's actual skill trees that you're leveling up in that. I think the art styles.
The boss fights yet?
Yeah, the boss fight was really cool. Getting to do that, I think that they've done some neat stuff with it for sure. It's really thought out. Like I think it's well done.
Yeah, I had played a decent chunk of 2 as well, and I thought it was okay. I was struggling to find a weapon that felt good to me. I think the roller was the closest I got to something.
I love that one.
I kind of like this, but most of it just didn't. I didn't feel like I was being effective in the multiplayer battles, and I liked the boss battles, but I didn't really like the rest of the stuff that I was playing in the campaign. And that just led to me eventually going, I've got other shooters that I can play. Even though I appreciate the difference that the uniqueness that they're going for here, and I also really love the character customization. Making your Squid Kid is awesome. Like all the options that you had, you could make something really cool. And I liked the characters, Marina, and who's the other one?
Oh God, I don't remember.
I don't know.
Little white fairy-ish one.
Yeah,
I don't remember
the name. So
doesn't matter. But I liked that stuff. But it got to a point where I was like, I'm not sure this is exactly for me, and I have not picked up 3, and I don't think I will. But I am interested in seeing you guys play it on a Friday sometime.
Yeah, and I don't remember if this was in the second game or not. But in the multiplayer, you have all sorts of different gear you wear. You have head, like glasses, you have a shirt, pants, shoes. All of those have different buffs that they
Yes.
grant you. And each thing has 4 slots. So as you're wearing those items in battle, they start with 1 or 2 traits, and then as you level it up, it unlocks additional ones. And you can also, I think, stack them.
You
So
can.
uh, you can. There's ones that, for example, it like speeds up how quickly your ink refills. And so if you're using something that is really draining your ink a lot, then maybe you get 4 pieces of clothing that help do that. So you can go into squid mode and it refills your tanks a lot quicker. Or there's ones that's like reduces the damage you take from enemy players or damage you take from walking on enemy
There's
ink.
like ink output, ink input, buffs, speed. There's this will increase your special recharge. So depending on how you play it, I found, and I don't know about you, Johnny, if you've tweaked this for your, I played only a little bit with you so far, but I tend to be more objective based. Like I'll kill people or splash people if I need to, but I'm really more about just covering with paint.
Covering the map.
Yep. And so I've been trying to like build stuff that way.
Yeah, if I can eliminate somebody while I'm in it, I will. Also, I don't think they had the like each character has an each weapon has like an ultimate ability linked to it. So after you rack up so many points, get so much ink on the map, you click the right stick, and it may be like it may be like a buff for your team, or the one I have now on the minigun. I'm like in this ink jetpack and I'm shooting down onto the map, or there's one that's a big hammer, and as you do it, it's splatting ink everywhere.
There's a crab, like a crab mech that you get into. That's really fucking cool. And you're like crab walking around just blasting paint everywhere. In the campaign, you have a little critter that hangs out with you. And it reminds me a lot of the drone from Deep Rock, where I can throw this critter at a box or something. It'll just keep like dousing it in paint. So you have this like, I'm going to throw that over there and let it take care of that mob while I move around. And I gotta say, like, I'm very surprised by how much I'm enjoying it, more so than 2. And I've made great progress on the campaign so far. I just got to level 6 on the multiplayer, which I think I can do the salmon run with you now.
Yeah.
And apparently that's a really kick-ass mode. It's like a horde mode.
It's so fun. Yeah. So it's wave based. It kind of reminds me like the attitude, because you're working for, it's for Grizzco, and it's like this wooden statue of a grizzly bear, and he's like, hey, go out there and earn me some eggs. And you're going to the level, and there are these salmonoids that spawn at different points on the map, and there's bosses, and when you kill a boss, they drop these golden eggs that you pick up and take back to, kind of like in Gambit and Destiny, you're dunking these eggs into this basket, and if you go over your quota, you get a little bit of a bonus. And it is team based. It's 4 players, I think. And I didn't play a lot of it in 2 just because it was something that wasn't always available. But now it's its own dedicated playlist. You can play it whenever you want. Once you hit level 5, and it has its own ranking. So like your level from the regular multiplayer is different. So I'm still a rookie in Salmon Run because I've only played, I think, like 3 rounds. The other thing that I really love about Splatoon is how quick the rounds are.
Yep.
In Turf War, it's 3 minutes, and that's it. And then you can just jump right back into it again. So it's super, super. Like, I've got half an hour to play games. Well, that could be almost 10 rounds of Turf War if you're playing.
Sure.
And I don't know, like I feel like I should download Splatoon 2 again and play it just to see, because like it has been so many years since I was into it. But this just feels like they've just refined it to a very fine point. and it's as good as it's ever been. So if you've enjoyed Splatoon in the past, I can't recommend this enough. And it's still weird to me that this is like Nintendo just kind of stumbled into this hit multiplayer game because they're so bad.
I know.
At
They've done a great
anything
job
having
with
to do
it.
with online. Yeah.
All right,
So.
that is Splatoon 3 and Temtem. Any other updates from you, Johnny?
No.
Okay.
What say we keep the Nintendo theme going?
Yeah, man.
And talk about this direct that we got yesterday.
For sure. So we're not going to watch the whole thing for this and for the Sony one, but for those of you who are listening, we'll be talking over some trailer stuff, so we'll have that on our video on demand. But I'm just gonna hit play and we can kind of dive into it and go from there.
Okay. Yeah. What an opener, right, Chase?
It's what I've been waiting for.
Was this expected for you, or were you just hoping that we'd get Fire Emblem?
I think it was expected at this point. Like, they showed off a new Fire Emblem Engage. This is a game that has been rumored for a while. There were some leaks out there of some images that seem like they're pretty consistent with what what this final stuff looks like. There was a rumor that this game has been done for over a year, and
kind of sitting on it,
and they were just kind of waiting for the right time. But that Fire Emblem 3 Hopes has come and gone, the Dynasty Warriors alike. So now seemed like the right time to do this. And it's an anniversary game, and the game is definitely pulling some of those anniversary strings, where it's literally pulling in characters from older Fire Emblems. And I think that it seems pretty cool. I did write up some notes.
Oh, they're making a multiverse game. I see.
Yeah, I mean they kind of did this in Fire Emblem Awakening, where they had the I'm gonna butcher the name. I think it's Einhyar. They had these cards that you could get that were these same kinds of characters from these past games, and you could use them in the in battles, but they functioned as separate units and they leveled up differently, and you couldn't marry them off like you could your other units in Awakening. So even though it was cool that they were there, they kind of just didn't do much. In this game, it looks like they are these other characters like Marth and Roy and Ike, the people that you know from other Fire Emblem games, or more likely from Smash Brothers. These characters, you can kind of equip them as rings, and they will give your main cast bonuses and also fight alongside them. And in one instance, at least in the trailer, looks like it even they transform. Like there's a transformation that happens where you combine with them to achieve some kind of like higher transformed mode where you do even more stuff. Yeah, kinda. And it looks neat. I like a lot of the stuff that's going on here. I do not like this main character. This main character design is so dumb with the red and blue half and half hair.
Is it because it's not a waifu? Is that why you don't like it?
No, there's a female version. Yeah, when you get to the end of this, there is definitely a female version that also has that half and half hair, and I just think it looks terrible. In fact, I think a lot of these character designs are kind of weak. They just it's not my style. It feels. Yeah.
I bet you.
Yeah.
There will be a red and blue Switch that comes out that has.
There already is a red and blue Switch.
No, not
Nintendo Switch.
Not the neon one. This royal blue and crimson red. There will be a Fire Emblem Engage edition with the dock, and they're going to have, or at least at minimum, they'll do some Joy-Cons for it if they don't do a full fucking combo. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, they made a special OLED edition for Splatoon. Why wouldn't they do it for Fire Emblem?
I feel like, or not feel like. I heard that an artist who has made VTubers before, has designed VTubers, is the lead character designer here, and and I think that shows.
Yeah.
I think these character designs just look.
There was somebody that
It's
like
not.
mocked it up as a VTube already.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. There's been a lot of jokes or memes around about that. I mean, they look fine. They just. It's such a bummer because we had Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia, which I think is just the most gorgeous art style in all of video games, and especially in all of Fire Emblem. And it feels like such a step back with Three Houses, and I think this looks a little bit better than Three Houses, just in terms of visual fidelity and quality. But I just don't know if the character designs are there. I like the character designs of the older Fire Emblem characters. Like I think Marth looks really good in here, and Sigurd and Celica when they showed those off. I think those look cool, but the design of the new characters, I'm not super into right now. But we still haven't seen a lot of them. I do think the combat animations look a hell of a lot better than they did in Three Houses.
Yeah.
They seem to transition to a more like side view that looks a little bit more traditional Fire Emblem. And I think it just makes the animations associated with them also look a lot more vibrant than you got in Three Houses.
There's a pretty big packaged version of this. Do you think you're going to grab that has like the art book and everything with it?
I don't think so. I've got enough Fire Emblem art books at this point. I kind of just want to play the game. Although I really like the idea of having these equipped rings. It actually reminds me a lot of a game called Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE, where your main characters had these kind of persona-like JoJo-esque stands as like, hey, here's the Fire Emblem character behind me, and we work as a team. And it seems like they're kind of bringing that into this in a way that's different than Fire Emblem Heroes, even though they're both finding ways of pulling old Fire Emblem characters into a new game. But yeah, and also they gave it a date, January 20th of next year. That's
relatively soon.
That is sooner than I expected. Pretty excited. So I'll definitely play this game, even though I don't see it being my favorite Fire Emblem game, but I'm pretty excited about the stuff they showed off generally.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. They also announced It Takes Two is coming to the Switch. They're
Makes
remaking.
sense.
Yes, it does.
I mean, kids got to learn about divorce somehow. Right?
That's exactly right.
November
Mommy, Daddy,
4th.
Still love you.
And the other thing, so like, that game's been marked down in price for some time now, but it looks like it is going to carry a $40 price tag at launch on here.
Yeah.
Not
Definitely
surprising.
some Switch tax going on. Yeah.
A remake of a Fatal Frame game that I think only released in Japan on the Wii.
I think that's right.
Is coming out next year.
Do you think? How about we do this?
Yeah. Do you want to just run through the list here, or just talk about what?
I would say like Chase has talked about Fire Emblem for a little bit here, that's a big one. Is there anything in between like the bookends here that we started and closed with that you all want to highlight?
I mean, you guys are the big Xenoblade fans. What did you think about the new Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC stuff they showed?
I think that character looks weird.
Yeah, it looks like a robot lady.
She is a robot lady.
Okay, that's right.
That's literally what they said.
Yeah.
They showed off a new update for Mario Strikers Battle League, and I just was reminded that I just fell off so fucking hard from that game.
Yeah.
And
let me see if I can find it on here. There we go.
I don't know if I would say it was disappointing exactly, but I did not play nearly as much of that as I was anticipating.
New characters of Pauline and Diddy Kong. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
A new level.
Hey, have you guys heard of this? So they showed off this new game that I thought was kind of cool. It's called Tunic. It must be like a Switch exclusive or something. I'd never heard of it before.
It looks great.
It's kind of neat. Yeah.
Is that coming out the same day on Switch as this PlayStation? That's right. September, isn't it? It's this month, right?
Nintendo is coming out September 27th, but
that's PlayStation as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe.
That's such a good game. God, that's such a good game.
They showed off
Who knows? Maybe I'll even play it.
Yeah.
You should. I need to finish that game. They showed off a bunch of farming games.
Dude, these directs are just like Square Enix and farming sims anymore. It seems like.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I get that it's fun to make. It's easy to make jokes about so many farming sims because there were like 6 in this direct.
Too many for one direct.
Yeah, kinda. But also, like at this point, we've dealt with so many shooters. We've dealt with so many of the same kinds of games in the past that I'm kind of okay with us at least overdoing a different genre of game at this point. I just wish they were better. They all look so like look at all this fucking
It looks bad.
Different squares. This
looks like a PS2 game.
They do. They all look bad. Like, why can't you make these animations that you're going to be seeing a billion times? Why can't you make them look better? Why can't you make this look more exciting?
Because they need to churn this out.
I guess
get the market as quickly as possible.
I know farming games are generally tedious. Like that's how farming games work. But these just look extra tedious, and I don't understand why.
It's not good.
Go ahead,
so
Bobby.
for me,
Go ahead, Bobby.
I think the front mission stuff looks cool. We got some information there.
Shout that out.
Shout out to Jiggy, but we've got front mission, which they are doing 1 and 2, and they said that there's a third one that they're going to be doing sometime next year, right, or in the future. They didn't give a date for that one.
So one comes out this year, 2 comes out next year, and 3 got announced and will be sometime in the future. I would imagine that would probably be late next year, but 3, I believe when I talked to Jiggy, like 3 is the one that he was playing on his streams, and I think 3 is like the one that people are the most excited about. Like that is when front mission gets good, from what I hear.
Are you all going to pick any of these up?
I'm absolutely going to pick up front mission 1.
Yeah.
I have not played any of these games, but it's an RPG. It's a tactical turn-based RPG with mechs. You cannot get much more Chase Kennedy than that.
Do we know if this is just only coming to the Switch, or is this going to be like, are they doing PC equivalents for those as well?
That I don't know.
I can try and find out.
Okay. Yeah, coming in the future for 3, 2023 for 2. So 3 could be in 2023. They say coming in the future.
I think at this time, Switch. Is, yeah.
Chase, I was going to ask you about Kirby.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Which one? Didn't they show off a couple Kirby things?
The remake specifically is what I'm curious about.
I liked that Kirby game, Return to Dreamland on Wii. I don't necessarily love the redone art style here. It's completely different than what it looked like on the Wii, but that's a solid game. I don't think I need to play it again. But
I never played this one.
If you've never played it, I think it's a really good Kirby game. It's a lot of fun. People should play it.
Nice.
People should have played it on the Wii though. That's my stance. Bobby, I'm seeing Square Enix Presents there. Yep, that's the one. They're making an Octopath Traveler 2.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be too upset about that. Maybe they improve on what we thought, because like the mechanics are solid there.
Were they? I thought the mechanics were the bad part.
No, the bad part was that they told 8 different stories that did not connect together and have a party. I thought that the break system was really fucking cool.
Okay, I thought character enemies were really bullet spongy or slashy spongy, or like they took way too many hits. Battles just slogged on for a really long time. I bounced off of Octopath real hard,
same,
and felt bad about it. I still like this HD 2D style. I know it's starting to get a little overdone. What I really I don't need to see Octopath Traveler. I need to see more Dragon Quest III Remake. That's what I want to see.
Here's the problem, man. Like all these games now, like anytime a new one comes out, it's like, oh, that looks like Octopath Traveler. That looks like Octopath Traveler. Oh, this is more Octopath Traveler. Like I know what they're doing. Like Square's like, holy shit, we can put how many of these on the fucking Switch? put every one of them.
People like this art style. All right, let's give it to them until they're sick of
Everything.
it. And it's cool. Like they put out Live Alive. Like that's amazing that they put out Live Alive after so long in this style. I cannot wait to start Live Alive. That is something that has been on my backlog that really needs to get off it.
Hey, maybe we'll have a time to talk about that.
Maybe. But yeah, part of me feels like I should go back and play Octopath 1 or play more Octopath 1 just to know whether or not I actually want to play Octopath 2, but I just see this art style and I go, that seems like a thing I would like to play, even though I have like 3 or 4 games that look like this already.
They showed off a little bit more of Sparks of Hope, which I think this game's going to be fucking awesome. I'm all the way in on that one.
I like the Sparks. Similar to the Fire Emblem Engage stuff. It seems like you just equip them and then you get new powers and bonuses, and I always like that kind of system. That's neat.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be a lot of fun there for sure.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Did we know October, or was that date revealed this time?
Yep.
Okay.
We got some new stuff coming to the 64.
Yeah.
Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2.
Really interested to see how those are going to work. Whether there's going to be any sort of compatibility with Pokemon Home or any way to play with your own Pokemon in there, or if these are just going to be, hey, you can only use the rental Pokemon. I guess I'll talk about it a little bit now. I've been considering on my Chasey K Plays channel, once I finish SteamWorld Heist, I was thinking about playing either one or both Pokemon Stadiums and just using rental Pokemon, but like actually playing the N64 versions or just emulating it. And if it works well on Nintendo Switch Online, I'd be happy to play those versions instead when I do that. But I just want to know what the fuck, they're even showing the box art there that has the N64 transfer pack on the box art. What do you do with that? The other ones make sense. Like, sure, Mario Parties, those will work just fine. 1080 snowboarding,
I like 1080 a whole lot.
1080 is cool. I like 1080 a lot too. But Stadium and Stadium 2 had this extra functionality back then, and I really wonder what they do with it now.
We'll see.
Yeah,
and then GoldenEye. How do we feel about GoldenEye?
So
online, only on the Switch.
That's cool. I mean, so that's going to be on Game Pass also, but without the online, which is strange.
That is very strange.
Yeah, so it's only on the Switch.
Maybe that was part of Nintendo's deal. Maybe you're like, hey, we know you can't make this without us, so we can dictate the terms a little stronger.
I'm gonna check it out. I have to check it out.
Yeah.
It bums me out because I've seen the remake, the leaked out remake, and that is more of what I'm looking for. I mean, I'll play this too. Like I already have the Nintendo Switch Online. I mean,
it is not aged well at all.
It hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
I don't think that's true. I think
it's absolutely true.
The art style is old, but I think when you high res it up, I think it looks fine enough. And I still think the objective based stuff, it's not just a first person shooter where you're shooting everything. The objectives in there where you have to like actually go through your equipment and do things like that. Yes, the escort stuff is going to still suck, but I still think that more objective based style of gameplay is way more interesting than. I'm trying to think of another shooter, certainly not on the 64, but I'm thinking about something like Black on the original Xbox. Like Black is just a standard ass fucking shooter, and this GoldenEye at least has something more going for it, even if it does feel a little old in some spots.
It did not age well.
Something
Bobby, do you want to talk about why the Switch is good?
No.
Switch is your favorite console now, right?
No.
Just press play. Do it.
So Factorio is coming to the Switch, which
Confirm Bobby's favorite console.
if you don't have any other means to check out Factorio, this is a really cool one to check out. I'm curious if they'll do like touch controls on here. Not that you need to have that, but given like I could touch and drag and lay some of the conveyor belt stuff. I want that game to be very well received and do well. Those developers seem like they're pretty all right dudes. And the little bit of Factorio that I checked out, I had a really good time with. I also know that Railgrade's coming out on Switch this month. So between that and Factorio, which I think they said was like November, if I remember correctly, might be sooner, you're going to have two really awesome. What time is it? When is it?
October 28th for Factorio.
Two really great games to automate and build stuff out in. So Factorio, very good. I think this game they're showing right now looked like absolute dog shit.
Yeah, this definitely looks like an RPG Maker thing. There's got to be something more to it that I'm not seeing. It felt very out of place.
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
This was weird.
Johnny, we have to talk about Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. You haven't played that, right? I'm the only one here who's played Crisis Core on the PSP. Do you know anything about Crisis Core?
Hang on.
I mean, story-wise, like you don't need to know about like the slot machine style combat thing they've got going on.
No, I don't know anything about this game.
All right, well then I guess I have to do this for both of you now. I thought we were both going to do it for Bobby. My question was, should Bobby play Crisis Core Remake? And I was going to say, please God, no. Bobby, okay. I still want you to like Final Fantasy VII. And I think in that vein, you should absolutely not play Crisis Core. The story in it is so over the top stupid.
Oh, wait a minute.
Now, Johnny.
I played a little bit of this. I borrowed a friend's PSP.
Okay, Johnny, I'm gonna say you absolutely should play Crisis Core Remake because it is so goddamn stupid and silly. So for the same reason, I think you should play it, and Bobby should not play it.
That makes sense.
Also, I just. It's gonna talk about stuff that happens in 7 that you still. I know we spoiled you on it, but they're still gonna talk about stuff that you don't really understand or know or care about or have even experienced. So I think it's probably better for you, Bobby, to just say, "Hey, I'm gonna leave that one alone."
Okay.
So I would just not worry about that. I will probably play some of the Crisis Core Remake. I hear they're updating the way the combat plays. Which is probably the most tedious part about the game on the PSP. So I'm interested to see what that game feels like now. But man, that story is so dumb.
Looking forward to it.
So dumb.
For the spirit of time, let's jump to the end of this one, unless there's anything that we have to talk about still.
Just very briefly.
Yeah.
They're making a remaster of Tales of Symphonia, which was the only other Tales game that I played. However, even on PC, it's capped at 30 FPS.
It's fucking hilarious. Like I heard somebody say the only way to play that game at 60 frames a second is on the GameCube,
which is why I played it originally.
Incredible. That is an incredible statement.
Real dumb. The last two big things here. Miyamoto came out and he really got us. He pitched us a game that's been out for a very long time. Yeah, he spent 15 minutes talking about Pikmin Bloom, and then
please play Pikmin. Please play Pikmin.
Before he left, he's like, "Oh yeah, we're making Pikmin 4, and it comes out next year." Peace. And then,
yes.
Finally. We heard about the Mario Kart Booster Course Pack Wave 3. Yeah.
Exactly.
Really exciting. No. Peach Gardens.
Chase,
it's gonna be great.
No, we're stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there, Chase. Just go play Fire Emblem Heroes for a second. Let the boys have their moment.
Is this why they had to block the Nintendo
Yes.
Direct in the UK?
Absolutely, it is.
Yes.
So the sequel to Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, one of the greatest games of all time, is titled Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And
Yes.
we
Kingdom
got
or King?
Kingdom.
Kingdom. Okay.
Yep.
So it starts with this this mural wall, and then it shows Link running and jumping off of this sky cliff thing.
They're seeing
And
it, Johnny. Just like
yeah.
they can see the trailer.
I know, but I saw it happen too, and it got me really excited. It looks like we're gonna have some new Sheikah slab powers, perhaps. And I'm wondering if the lower part of the map of Hyrule is going to be largely the same, and all the new stuff is going to be in the sky.
The only thing I did see that looked different, I've gone through the trailer a few times, just kind of trying to pick out some stuff. Death Mountain is spewing malice, which it was not in the first game, so that's interesting and not good. But that image right there was very interesting to me, with just the history of the series and like what 7 represents from, sages and beyond. They had that image with like the 7 tiers around it. So I'm wondering if there is
Zelda dies, and that's why the kingdom is full of tears.
Could be, but I think that they made a comment when they ported Skyward Sword to the Switch, and I think that they were just trying to like really hype up a game that's arguably not great. They were essentially saying that it was a predecessor for a lot of the stuff that you got in Breath of the Wild, from the stamina meter to just the climbing that they had there. And I'm curious if there was more to that comment than just mechanics that they were bringing over to it. Like if there is some sort of lore going back to the original, being more of a Skyward Nation coming down now and having that. I can't wait. We got a date on top of a title, May 12th. So we know that the game's coming out next year in May, which we're happy about. But looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Same day, and this is not going to be nearly as a robust conversation, I don't think. But we did get the Sony State of Play as well.
Yeah.
One more thing on the Zelda. Like if that game doesn't have the weapon degradation, I'll probably really like that game. If it does, I probably will feel the same way I do about Breath of the Wild.
Let me pull up this really quick, Chase. So there is something in the title card that I find interesting. Because if you go back,
is this a real thing, or are you just going to do something like a
no? This is a real. This is a real thing.
All right.
So if you look at the Master Sword in that title card,
it's like digitized a little bit.
It is, but in the
Midna got a hold of it.
The trailer before this one, you see a really chewed up and destroyed Master Sword from about the point where that happens on it. So if we take what Johnny said, which Zelda dies, maybe some shit happened with the sword getting destroyed in that process, leading to her death. I don't know. That's the same stuff that was all over your arm in the first teaser for this that came out at E3. But it's hard not to see that here in the title. And also the Ouroboros. Like, I'm really curious about that, because there had been some rumors about the rise and fall of Ganondorf on this, and like having Ganondorf like be somebody that was good at some point in their life become bad. And you see that body at the very beginning, the early trailer, the first teaser, where it seemingly comes to life. It very much looks like Ganondorf from a decrepit, worn out one. I don't know. There's little shit like this gets me excited. I like the title quite a bit. We'll see. To answer Chase's question, though, the Master Sword got tired in the last game. I wonder if this is their way of saying it's not going to do. And I wonder if, I've told Johnny, I've told Jason, I've told you this. Give me dungeons and take away weapon degradation, and I will be so happy. Yes. Anyway,
I wonder. I do wonder though. Like, maybe, I know I don't like the weapon degradation, but maybe that maybe that does contribute to the reason why Breath of the Wild is so beloved. Like the the way it forces you to find weapons is another way that it forces you to explore.
Sure.
So I could see if you take that out, maybe it does make the game less in some way, even if I would like it more.
I
never realize I'm being selfish here.
Yeah, I never minded the weapon degradation. I did think it was lame that the Master Sword got tired, but
I only minded it in that I would like there were a couple of challenge shrines that I went into, like combat challenge shrines, and I just would end up using up all my weapons on these really hard fights, and then I'd come out of that shrine and go, well, fuck, I need to go grind out a bunch of weapons before I can go back to my adventure again, and that felt really lame. And I didn't, and it would just get to the point of like, well, I don't really want to deal with this right now. And then when I load up the game later, I'd go, oh, right, I don't have any weapons, fuck. And then I would kind of get caught in this point where I feel like I would, you guys know one of my biggest pet peeves in gaming is wasting time.
There's a lot.
Losing progress. And weapons in here felt a very Dark Souls style, oh, I just lost a bunch of progress. And now I have to waste a bunch of time getting back to where I was. That stuff never felt good to me, and I just couldn't get into it, and it was tough because I really like a lot of what the rest of that game is doing. I couldn't get past it.
I'm with you. It was a very hard thing for me as well. Sony, they had their state of play. Yep. I don't think it was as good.
There were some real boring parts of this.
Yeah.
Like when they tried to sell us, these are absolutely not NFTs.
Oh my god.
They're just digital collectibles. I'm like, guys, I know we're not buying and selling these, so they aren't NFTs, but holy shit, do these look fucking lame.
These are fucking NFTs, dude.
They're so lame, and they're so late to the party. There's nothing about this loyalty thing that makes me excited.
It is the fucking Diet Coke of NFTs. It's all the fucking taste with none of the calories.
So I wasn't able to watch this. So this is the first time hearing of it, but I'm seeing the video.
There is a
so Johnny,
it's so bad.
Do you remember playing Astro's Playroom and going, wow, this is cool. Like, look at my big collection of Sony stuff that I've found.
That was my first thought, was like, oh, this looks like the thing I collected in Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, and Sony's like, well, what if you got each of those things individually and had nowhere to really put them and nothing to really do with them?
But you own them.
But you got them. You got them.
Can I bring them to PlayStation Home?
Fucking probably. I don't know.
Bring back PlayStation Home.
Like some of that high res little stereo thing there was really cool. But that stuff is really cool in Astro. Like that's
and you earned it in Astro. You fucking beat a level and unlocked it. And this is just like you're gonna start to earn stars for doing shit, and you get to go like basically put a quarter in the old token machine and get something. It looks fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I know that we're not the biggest Tekken fans, but I think that's a pretty big deal.
Tekken 8.
Tekken 8.
I played some Tekken 7, and I had some fun with it. Fighting games, I wish I revere fighting games, even though I am not very good at them, and I just respect the hell out of people that are good at fighting games. We got a bunch of Yakuza news.
Yep.
Like a Dragon Ishin was a Japan-only game that's being remade for a global release. That's coming out. When is that coming out?
I think this means. I think somebody was talking about it. This means there's only one Yakuza realm game that has yet to be translated.
That's. I mean, in some way. When you think about where that series was, not that long ago. And like where it is now, it's pretty cool. Like I still wish that I had played more of Yakuza Like a Dragon. I
also wish I did that too.
Is this Like a Dragon similar to that Like a Dragon, or is this different?
It's so. Well, what do you mean by that? Is it going to be a turn-based RPG? No. Is it like a dragon in that it's the same branding and that they're both under the Yakuza banner? Yes.
Is it like a
I think
squirrely, kind of weird?
I think Like a Dragon is their way of saying this is Yakuza, but it's not Yakuza. Like
Okay.
this is not in Kamurocho. This is not in that. This is like a Yakuza.
Yeah.
It's like a dragon, but it's not the genuine article.
One of the things that I thought was incredibly cool was this game from Ironwood. This is the one where you have like the souped up station wagon and you're driving through the really weird parts of like the Pacific Northwest.
Pacific Drive.
Yeah. I thought this looked really cool. It's got a mood to it for sure. Knight Rider-esque souped up car, weird anomalies happening that you're driving through. I think it's got a neat premise to it. I don't know a lot about what's going on in this world, but it's kind of Alan Wake-esque in that sense. Like it seems,
in that realm.
Yeah, it looks cool. I would like to see more of that. I don't know when that comes out, but looks pretty cool.
2023. Let's see. Rise of the Ronin.
What about more PlayStation stars? You want to look at those again while we're okay.
Rise of the Ronin is Team Ninja's take on Assassin's Creed. Sounds like.
So this one felt really weird being in the same state of play as the Like a Dragon because they feel like they're in similar veins and they kind of look similar too. Apparently they're banking on this game to be really big for them.
Yeah, and it seems super ambitious.
I hope there's more to it than what they showed because what they showed did not excite me very much. Like it just kind of it just looks like a Ghost of Tsushima, and that also didn't excite me very much.
This game, I don't know, I can't remember the name of it. It looks to be more of a mech focused one. This looks like a game that you would play, Chase.
I know it looks like a game I would play because it's about mechs and anime ladies, and it's in Japanese. But
it's got some big Chase energy.
I don't know if I actually like this. It does. Like, there's at one point where they're drilling into like a rock, and I wonder if this is going to be more Big Bobby energy in terms of finding resources and crafting and stuff like that. It also has like some Monster Hunter look to it when you're fighting some of these bigger animals, creatures, things.
I thought it kind of had like a Nier vibe to it at times too, like just some of those shots of it, like exploring the roads.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'm interested in seeing more of it, but I'm not like this. This did not make me want to play this outside of hey, it's the game that had mechs in it.
Sure. Moving along here.
I mean,
Johnny, do you care about the Stellar Blade, like that Project Eve thing that we saw before that looks like Dark Souls, but
it got renamed, Chinese right?
Developed. Yes, this is now called Stellar Blade, but it's kind of like a Chinese Dark Souls.
Got it.
Chinese made Dark Souls. But maybe like a little bit more actiony.
Yeah, it looks.
I don't know. Like most of those games that I've played, like they just don't.
They fly. They don't fly close enough to the sun. That's what you're saying.
I've seen a lot of memes on Twitter with this lady, like the shot behind her where you're seeing her posterior, and
it definitely feels like, hey, we know you can't play Bayonetta on this console because Nintendo owns it right now. So what if we gave you this instead?
Yeah,
I think this might be the trailer for that. Is this the?
This is the Ronin one.
Yeah.
Should we just talk about God of War?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for that controller.
I thought that was a hilarious thing. It was like, hey, we got one more thing to show you. That felt like a fucking bait and switch where it's like, here's a controller. Like, you fucking guy. I was laughing out loud.
Yeah.
They showed us a real trailer after that I don't even care about God of War that much, and I thought this trailer was pretty killer. So
It's a very good trailer.
I think they did well.
I'm very, very excited for this game. Like, if that wasn't obvious already, I adore the 2018 game, and I'm really excited to see how they wrap this story up. It looks like they're making some cool additions to the combat, especially with the shields, the different types of shields that Kratos can equip, and lots of cool action set pieces, and just fantastic moments again. And like I don't know, I'm here for it. I can't wait to play it. And
do you think it will also be in one uncut shot?
I don't know.
I think they're going to do.
Say, like, I would assume no, like that's that artistic choice would carry over to this game as well. And at the very, very end, it shows Kratos and Thor, their axe and hammer colliding, and I wonder if because in the very end of spoilers for God of War, 2018, post credits of that ends with Thor showing up at your doorstep, and so I wonder if it doesn't pick up right there, and you kill Thor and take his hammer, and that becomes
wouldn't that be? Oh man, I feel like they're gonna. You can't just kill Thor at the beginning of the game and not have him be a looming threat.
I think he's going to be a big part.
There's still Odin left after that, you know.
I'm sorry, I think you mean Toby from The West Wing.
Sorry,
you didn't catch that was Richard Schiff's voice. It was so fucking distracting to me that Odin is done by Toby.
I've never seen The West Wing, so.
Okay.
All I know is that show destroyed our country for the foreseeable future because the people that chose to get into politics because of The West Wing.
I just like the idea that Odin is going to be talking about liberalism.
He's going to do some walk and talks.
I think it was a very well done trailer. Part of me, I didn't give a shit about God of War prior to 2018's release, and
me neither.
I got really excited from that first E3 trailer because I was like, wow, this is very different from what I remember the series being, and it has a whole new look to it and all this shit. It's such a known quantity to me that this, like, as a continuation, of course I'm in. I'm just trying to get as excited as I was for something that I didn't know I wanted, where I've been like chomping at the bit to get any news on this game. So I'm excited for it. I think that controller is really fucking dumb looking. It's a very ugly controller. But this game sure looks pretty. Really is. It looks like a fucking Mad Catz troller. It looks like something Mad Catz would put out.
To go back to Johnny's thing, I don't think you can start. I mean, I guess you can start it. It just would be really lame to me to start this game with you fighting Thor right outside your house, because that's exactly how the last game started. Hey, here's a god who just shows up outside of your house and wants to fight you. Like that's.
I mean, you're going to get that hammer in the game. I think you're going to have. Oh, absolutely. You're going to have ice for your axe, fire for your blades, and you're going to have lightning for your hammer. And I think there's going to, because they, spoilers for 2018's, you don't have the are they the Blades of Chaos? What are they called?
Blades of Chaos. Yeah, because he's
walked away from
much later in the game. Yeah.
So you go when shit hits the fan and you dig those up. And for a while, that's like all you have. And then they start to incorporate that, like, you can switch between these mid-swing. I can totally see them at a midway point being like, okay, you're fighting Thor. You kill Thor. You get Mjolnir, or whatever that fucking hammer's name is. Mjolnir. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you think they'd really have you kill Thor?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I bet it ends with you killing Odin, or Odin killing you.
Yeah, one or the other.
You can't kill Odin at the end of the second game.
They're not doing this. They're
not making a third. This is it.
I find that hard to believe.
Take it up with Corey. Anyway, I think you will use that hammer for sure in the game.
Okay.
Or
the problem is the hammer works too similarly to the axe. Like you throw it and it comes back to you. That's what the axe does.
It's a different element. That's the whole thing.
I understand that it's a different element, but I think.
And we don't even know for certain that you will use the axe, but we know that you're going to get the axe.
What do you mean?
The hammer. Sorry, the hammer.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah.
I meant hammer.
I mean, I could see you getting like a spear or something, like a weapon that functions completely differently from an axe and the blades.
Maybe the axe gets fucked in this, and you get the hammer.
There are other weapons in Norse mythology. Like if you want a spear, you could have, what is it, Gungnir? I'm just thinking of more Final Fantasy weapons.
Was he? Was that like a throwback to him being younger? Keep talking. Sorry.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, like what is Gungnir? It's
I don't remember.
I mean, I know it's a spear from Norse mythology. It's the spear of Odin. What if Odin gave you Gungnir, and then you use that to fight some other shit? I don't know.
I
understand what you're saying. Like, yes, like you see Thor, you're having it out with Thor. It makes all the sense in the world to get the hammer as like a third element. But I just think the hammer functions too similarly to the axe that you already have. I feel like they need to give you something that gameplay wise plays differently.
For sure.
And isn't just, hey, this is the axe, but it shoots electricity now.
What do you say we wrap this up? How's that feel?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right. That was our recap for the Nintendo Direct and the Sony State of Play. We talked about some really cool games this week. We've got a fun, packed week for you. Monday night, Chase and I kicked off with Tim. Had a great time. You know we both like that game. Arcade Paradise is a quick look that is up right now. That is a laundromat and arcade simulator. And I said that correctly. Both of those things. We talked about all the games and the directs tonight. Tomorrow we've got a quick look going up of Tim that Chase and I put together. And on Friday night, Johnny and I are going to get together and check out Splatoon 3, which will be a ton of fun. We're going to call it out right now. Next week, we are not going to be live at all. We're going to be recording this week, next week's episode. So when you listen to it, it won't be live. We'll be doing other things and enjoying life, but you'll be enjoying our show. So we're going to record that as a deep dive. That'll be up next Friday at 10 a.m. wherever you listen to podcasts. So again, not live at all next week. Chase, you've got this slick new house. You talked a little bit about your series that you've been doing right now with SteamWorld Dig earlier, and you teased, Heist. You teased a future where you might be playing Pokemon Stadium. What else you been doing? What else you got going on?
I built a nightstand today.
You domestic
that's
fuck.
What I'm doing.
You go from Gunpla to IKEA.
Yeah, that's true. I cut off the electricity to my old apartment.
Good.
I took a walk. I did a lot of things, but I have not done much in terms of my YouTube channel. It'll come back. It'll come back soon. I now have this thing built that can now hold my game consoles to connect to this television or to this computer, and that's going to make getting stuff for the YouTube channel a lot easier. So I would expect that to come back in the coming weeks. Who knows? Maybe I'll record something next week since we don't have much going on with Casual Hour. I'll have some extra time to maybe do that. So we'll see. Something soon for Chase K Plays. Same goes for Gamers on the Go. And then I haven't mentioned this at all, but I do have something else in the works that I'm pretty excited about that should be coming in the coming months. So I'll be sure to let everybody know as soon as that's real. But for now, it's something that's pretty exciting for me.
Awesome. Johnny, have you and Jude been reenacting God of War together?
No. He is a trickster, though. So.
Okay. Fair.
Do you have the God of War skin for Fortnite?
No, I don't.
Damn.
Okay.
Well, maybe Sad Dad will come back when the new one does. Time will tell. That's going to do it for episode 290. Again, we've got live shows happening right here on Twitch, video on demand, quick looks, all that stuff over on YouTube. We'll be back Friday night with Splatoon 3. So we'll talk to y'all then. Take care.